Today we are making a delicious sauce that you can use with all kinds of fish and seafood. We are making a beurre blanc, or a white butter sauce. Hey guys, thanks for joining us. If this is your first time tuning in, let us know you're out there by giving us a big thumbs up below, and then hit that subscribe button to make sure you never miss a video. Now, let's start cooking. This is so easy to prepare and it's so impressive. There are a couple of things that are important to know though, and we'll get to those in just a second. But first, let's look at the ingredients. It's simple. Basically, we have about 30 grams of shallots here. Now, one of the keys is chopping these very finely, doing what's called a ciselé cut. And so these are very, very finely minced shallots. And I've got about 100 grams, 100 milliliters of white wine, a dry white wine. You can use a Chardonnay, you can use a Sauvignon Blanc, you can use a Pinot Grigio, what have you for that. And that's about a half cup. And then I've got 80 milliliters of white wine vinegar. Now for this, you could use a white wine vinegar, you could use a champagne vinegar, you could even use an apple cider vinegar if you needed to. I wouldn't necessarily suggest that, but some kind of acid, even lemon juice is great, especially if you're going to be using it for fish. That's a great one. And now the key to this sauce is butter. And of course, it's called a white butter sauce. And so, and I know it looks like a lot of butter there, but we probably have about 3/4 of a cup of butter that has been cubed into about 1/2-inch cubes. And now the key to this sauce is keeping that butter cold until you are ready to use it. So when we start our sauce, we're going to put our butter in the refrigerator and let it stay cool. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to put our wine and our white wine vinegar and our shallots in the pan. And we're going to bring those to a boil. And the idea here is to boil this literally until there's probably about 2 tablespoons of liquid left in this. So we're just gonna, we've got this over a high heat, or we'll put it over high heat. And once this comes to a boil, we will let that continue to cook until the liquid is reduced till the pan is almost dry. You wanna make sure that everything comes to the boil. And boy, this is really a strong aroma in your kitchen. So you won't be able to really stand over this. But let it come to the boil and just leave it alone, and until that liquid starts to reduce, and then we will go to our next step. As you can see, our liquid is just about gone. Look at that. It's just, there's probably about 1.5 tablespoons of liquid in the pan. I'm going to turn the heat way down, all the way down, or actually I'm going to go this other direction, as low as I can go. And now this is one of the keys to this sauce, and that is we're going to start adding our cubes of butter a couple at a time. And this is a part that a lot of times is where people go wrong. You cannot rush this step. We want this cold butter to melt gently into this sauce. A lot of times people, make this sauce and they have a problem with it because the sauce breaks. And a broken sauce is one where the sauce is separated. The solids are separated from the emulsion, and so that causes the sauce to break. So what we're going to do is just take our time until we are almost done with all this butter in here. And just as the first couple of pieces, the pieces that are in there start melting, then you can start adding the other pieces. And now this is going fairly slowly. I'm going to actually increase my heat just a little bit. And we just want to keep moving it around. And again, it's a butter sauce, which by the way, we are using an unsalted butter. You could certainly use a salted butter if you want. I prefer using an unsalted butter. That way I can control the amount of salt, that's in the finished product. But look at that. Look how it's coming together. It's just very simple, but don't make the mistake of trying to go too fast with it. Because if butter gets too hot, then it'll separate, and that's what breaks your sauce. So we'll just continue doing this until almost all of the butter is incorporated. See, we have a lot of our butter incorporated, and almost all of it's incorporated, and we still have the heat on, but as you can see, it's not bubbling at all. It's not boiling, because that is what will break your sauce. So that is really one of the biggest keys to this sauce, is making sure that it never boils once you start putting your butter in. And by the way, I am using what's called a saucier. This is a specially made pan, made for sauces. You could certainly do this in your skillet or your small saucepan as well. But this is made for sauces just because of the rounded sides and the corners. There are no corners in it. Okay, we'll put a couple more of our cubes in here. And now what we'll do is once we incorporate these last couple of cubes in, we're going to remove this from the heat, and then we'll put our very final 2 cubes of butter in. We'll take it off the heat, and we'll just get these last couple of cubes in here. And again, the key to this is just going nice and slowly. But as you can tell, this sauce has taken about 7 minutes, so it just doesn't take very long at all to make. Where the sauce gets its flavor, of course, is from the shallots. And so shallots is one thing I would not substitute. Don't substitute onions, don't substitute anything. Only shallots for this sauce if you really want the authentic sauce. Okay. And it is nice and thick and silky. And so what we can do at this point, let's just take a look at that sauce. See how nice and, oh, look at that. Beautiful. All right, so you have a couple of choices at this point. You can keep the sauce as is, or you can strain it out. But before we do that, let's season it. I don't know if I mentioned my salt and pepper earlier, but we're just going to put in a little bit of salt, and I'm using some fine sea salt. And I'm using white pepper. A little bit of white pepper. Just to mix that in. And let's give it a taste. Oh. It's just an incredible flavor. And really, the shallots are so wonderful and sweet in here. I'm going to leave them in because today I'm actually going to be using this sauce with just some seared shrimp over some pasta. And wow, the flavor is just unbelievable. And so the thing about this sauce is you don't want to have to reheat it. So you want to keep it warm while you are making the rest of your meal. So in our case today, I'm just going to put this in a warmed oven at very, very low temperature, and just to keep the sauce warm while I finish getting everything else done. So my sauce was in the oven for just a little bit. I had the oven on warm, and as you can see, it's loosened up. And when I say loosen, that means the sauce has become a little bit thinner than it was before. Now, in case your sauce breaks, in case the sauce separates, what you can do is always add, what's really best is just some chipped ice, just a small piece of chipped ice, or if your water comes out of your tap very cold, you can add just a little bit of cold water. So that's what I'm going to do here, because I can see that it's getting very thin. So, and that's all it takes. I just added just a little bit of cool water to that, and it just straightened right up. And so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put this sauce in my serving bowl. And again, like I said, you could certainly strain the sauce if you wanted to. But today I'm using it with I've just made some pasta with some fresh shrimp. And this is actually going to be our sauce for our shrimp and pasta. And we'll finish it with a little bit of parsley and just a few tomatoes. Man, you talk about a fantastic lunch treat. And then maybe a little bit of a squeeze of lemon. And there you have it. Time for a taste test. Let's just give it a try. We've got our nice fettuccine pasta with our beurre blanc sauce and a little pan-seared shrimp. Man, you just can't get any better than that. I mean, this is high end, but just so very simple and so fast. And I'm pairing it today, since we're doing it for lunch, with a nice dry rosé from the Provence region of France and a beautiful French baguette. So, bon appétit. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, give us a thumbs up below and hit that subscribe button. It's free. And ring the bell if you want to be notified as soon as we release a new video. Also, let us know in the comments if you have any special recipe requests. We really appreciate you tuning in. See you next time.